Kaisen panel. What if I was like, I'm trying to think of a really obscure anime, but it's too early. I was like, welcome to that panel, and you were like, wait, what? Yeah. You guys look amazing. There's so many amazing cosplayers out here. It's like looking into a weird mirror.
I think this is the best cosplay I've seen at a con that I've been to.
He says that at every con.
Yeah.
Really
Don't be fooled, don't be fooled. It's great to be here in Austin, Texas, where they have the best cosplayers.
Shucks, no.
Yes. Should we introduce ourselves and tell everyone who we are and what we do? You want to kick us off? You want me to kick us off? Okay. What's up, guys? My name's Adam McArthur. I'm the voice of Yuji Itadori. Best boy. Best boy. Good boy. So I voice Yuji in Jujutsu Kaisen. I'll tell you other stuff later, but I'll just kick it off with JJK since that's what we're all here. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Yatco. I'm the voice of Nobara Kugisaki, best girl.
My name is Matthew Rudd. I play Panda, best panda.
My name is Landon McDonald, and I play Noritoshi Kamo and Aso, the middle death painting brother, aka best death painting brother.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, don't be so humble. Come on, you know.
I know Choso has his fans, but
Yeah.
but he's not a Chippendale. He's not close Chippendale.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh
Soon
man.
to be the star of the new Magic Mike movie.
Yes. That sounds good. So, how are you guys? Have you been to Ikkicon before?
This is my first one.
My first Ikkicon, yeah.
My first
time in Austin. Been well nourished on brisket.
Yeah, we had brisket tacos. We're doing the Austin
breakfast brisket.
Yeah.
Yes.
I told Adam had some hot sauce this morning.
It was spicy.
And I told him we're going to frequently check in with him throughout the day.
It burned my tongue on the end.
Like Adam asked me, he was like, "Is it spicy?" And I was like, "I'm not the right person to ask. I'm going to tell you it's not spicy. I'm a terrible age."
We're doing an hourly wellness check.
Yes. Anne was like, always ask white people if it's spicy.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Hear that groan?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm weak, so it checks out. Yeah, so we've been living that Austin dream so far, and we're very excited to be here and chat with you guys about Jujutsu Kaisen and all the fun stuff. We're gonna actually we're gonna dim the lights and we're gonna show the movie. I'm joking. I wish. Did you think really? Come on. Believe nothing I say. You're filming this. Put that on somewhere. But just cut it right there.
Cut it
right there. And then be like, the movie was so good.
Yeah. Wait. Everybody pretend that we just watched the movie. Okay, you ready to go?
Yeah.
Ready.
And back.
3, 2, 1. Oh my God!
Better than any movie I've ever seen in my life.
Honestly, like your performance as Panda.
Performance. Great.
Mind-boggling.
I really harnessed that essence of Panda.
Yeah. Wow, that was Panda-like.
Spicy.
And the way they paid tribute to season 1 with your characters, it was amazing.
The way they did that was that. That was so cool. Okay, I want to ask you guys some questions.
You want to ask me a
Yeah,
question?
I'm going to interview you guys.
Oh.
What is your favorite number? Just kidding, it's going to be JJK related, I'm joking. Okay. Favorite episode?
Oh. It's
And why?
And why?
Yeah.
It's episode 17, which is during the tournament when Nobara's fighting Momo, and she gives that awesome speech before she whacks her with the squeaky arrow. That is my favorite one because that speech she gives is like it's everything to me. It's like such a great credo to live by. Nobara is aspirational to me and you.
No, but seriously, as far as Nobara being aspirational, she always recorded her lines like right before I did when I went into a session, and it was always like a benchmark for me to reach. I was like, oh man, it's so good, I've got to do it, got to be up there.
What was your favorite episode?
Oh, well, so obviously my favorite episode is 16 when Panda goes gorilla mode.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
I just talked about reading a book.
Spoilers.
Not only because it's awesome, but I've told Ann this before, I love that we get to see Panda be kind of the older brother figure and look out for Nobara and look out for everyone else. And I like that character moment.
Yeah.
You can see him be the older brother, the older brother, the younger brother.
Yeah.
You can just see
Got
him
an
the
older
older
sister.
brother.
He's got
Yeah.
an older sister.
All things told.
Yes.
Let's see, my two favorite episodes. I love the baseball episode, actually.
Oh my god.
It's always fun. It's always fun with an anime, when there's a random baseball episode. And I like the moment of understanding that happens between Kamo and Yuji. How they're not so different. Kamo keeps he keeps trying to say that to people. We're not so different, you and I.
He's trying to convince himself.
Yeah. Just needs a friend, you
Yeah,
guys.
he really does. He really does. He's grumpy, but he's got a lot of machinery. And I also like this. I love the season finale, especially the big final battle between Aso and these two. And I mean, I'm biased, obviously, but you guys, your performances in that episode, especially. I mean, I was just blown away, especially when I saw the picture.
I think, man, it's really actually hard for me to pick. So Jujutsu Kaisen was my first anime. I had not done any anime before I got cast as Yuji. And so doing the show, it was like every episode, there's not a bad episode in the season, in my opinion. Remove me from it, like watching the sub even. Like there's not a bad episode in JJK Season 1. And so like it being my first time doing anime, I was learning so much as I was going along that like every episode was new and fun and a challenge. I really love the episodes with Yuji and Toto. And in the baseball episode when Yuji has the revelation to Toto after he gets beaten with the pitch where he's like, wow bro, everyone really hates you. And I mean everyone. I love that. But yeah, the last two episodes of the season, there was just something like, I don't know, so special about it.
Yeah.
The direction they started taking, just the direction of the episode and of JJK in general, where you're getting a more grounded performance, and it's not so like, kind of anime. Yeah. There's both, and there are the light elements, like the fun elements, but like, man, there's really something cool about those grounded moments and the fight. Like you can feel the weight and the stakes of the entire season culminating in those last two episodes. So I think that's probably.
I mean, we're all fans of anime, so we understand that anime comes with a little bit of cringe, and I think what you're saying is that there's less cringe.
Yeah. It's not even. No, it's not even. No, it's like. No,
I hate the word cringe. I'm
It
sorry.
makes me cringe.
That was the first time I've ever used the word. I'm just trying to be cool.
Yeah, no, it's not that. Like to me, that's a genre specific thing. Like those elements are a genre specific thing, and that's sort of the I don't know, the beauty of it coming from another country or like being not from here, that we get that sort of like cultural element that is important in Japan. So I like that there are those things. It's more of just like it's not one note. The show is not only one thing. Like I was surprised every episode by something, whether it's like, oh, now we're playing baseball, or like now Yuji's doing parkour and running from Toto across the top of a roof screaming like, I didn't even know you were junior high, Like.
Yeah, I think like what's so refreshing about the show is that it so effortlessly kind of like ping-pongs back and forth between the more zany aspects and then these like really like dark and gritty, like almost like body horror, like gothic horror elements. Like I love that it can just go back and forth so quickly in one episode, and very well done.
Yeah, it's just the world we live in. And MAPPA, right? I mean, the animation studio.
It's insane.
It drips with style.
It's so cool. It's like it's like the embodiment of cool. Like if that was a person, you'd be like, you'd watch them walk by. It'd be Gojo. You'd watch them walk by You're like, wow, that person's cool. Yeah, Mako just.
I kept texting Adam like when I would watch the show and Yuji would have some new power and it would look so cool on screen. I'd be like, that's badass.
Yes.
No, to handle those tonal shifts, I mean, that's, that's really so deftly, and that's really nice. And the, like I said, body horror aspects, there's some stuff in there, it's like, worthy of Cronenberg.
Did you guys, as actors, did you guys have a hard time with that switch sometimes? Me personally, I've told you this before, but me personally, I was a little bit off guard when, like Panda's voice is just completely different in certain parts. Sometimes he's acting dumb, sometimes he's acting really aggressive, and it's just almost just me having to think about, all the different aspects of my voice rather than usually you're funneling in and honing in on one character voice, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and living within a specific range of that character.
Did you guys have similar experiences?
I found it to be the most funnest challenge in the whole wide world because I got to use for Novara like the whole spectrum of my own personal range, and I was just like, oh, this is so great. I just love to play. Playing inside of that was great.
Yeah, I think as an actor, it's sometimes you get hyper focused on minutia that when you zoom out and you're taking in the show as a whole with sound effects and music and all of that stuff, it's hard to gauge. Like as actors, we have to have a lot of trust in whoever's directing us, and that's always like if you haven't worked with them before, or for example, this show was recorded. We started recording during the pandemic, so we were all recording in our home studios. Yeah. Which means we're not face to face, or at least on the other side of a glass in a booth opposite the directors, and seeing what their facial expressions are when they're like, oh yeah, let's do that again, but maybe like on this one, you're just hearing audio and it's like, oh yeah, do that again, and you're like, baby, is that bad? They're just like, it's easy to get super like pinpoint focused and overthink those kind of things. Yeah. But I think that's where trust in the director comes from, and like knowing that they're viewing it from a bird's eye view of seeing the whole, like how we're all coming together. Because like, actually, Anne and I have now been on. I keep getting cast on shows that Anne's on, which is really awesome. I haven't announced it yet, but there's a show called Sakugan that Anne is the lead voice on. It's called Sakugan. She's my member, and I just joined the cast.
Yeah.
It's a really cute show. And Anne's amazing as always. But what was I talking about?
You're talking about
you got really deep into that plug.
You did.
I did.
No, you were talking about
you keep getting cast in the same shows.
Yeah, nope.
And so it's actually a director who directed us for Sakugan, the same director who directed us on episodes 23 and 24, at least me, for Jujutsu Kaisen. And she said multiple times, she's like, I just love the way your and Anne's voice complement each other. She did?
Yeah.
Which is like, it feels great to be like, oh, we're
that's
awesome.
so
Yeah,
nice.
we're so good. But it's also like cool to think about it in terms of like, oh, right, that's how they're looking at it. It's not just like, are you doing good? What does your voice sound like on that one line?
They
It's
have
like,
to put all the pieces together in this puzzle.
Yes. So, I don't know, yeah. I at the beginning of doing JJK, was so hyper focused, and I think it was because it was my first time and it was a pandemic and I was doing like I think I was so hyper focused, and I think that as time went on, I really like pulled back and tried to just be an actor and not worry about all the other stuff, and I think that really helps mentally as well as performance wise. So
hey, shout out to the Nobara cosplay with a panda mask.
Yes.
There's a lot of good cosplay, but she's double dipping in a really good way.
But like, I don't know if any of you all are interested in voice acting, but a thing to remember, like when you're like doing auditions and like you're trying to get booked on these kinds of shows, is to remember like you're just putting forth like your best effort, but you don't know like what is the whole puzzle looking like. What are they trying? What are the sounds and the textures and the timbres that they're trying to like put together so that you might have a really great read on a character, but if you sound too much, if your voice just sounds too much like another actor who's already been cast,
it's hard.
It's hard, yeah.
There are a lot of moving parts for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting is, I mean, even before the pandemic, I before I got into this, I just figured that, with voice actors that they always recorded together, like an old-time radio drama, we're all in like a semicircle and we have, our own mics.
Everybody talking like this.
Yeah,
Landon, walk through the door.
We have a sound effects guy, like the police academy do. But no, the fact of the matter is though, even before COVID, usually, we're recording totally individually, just us, the director and the engineer, and maybe a producer. And I remember that took some getting used to. It's like, this is kind of sometimes a lonely process.
Yeah.
And you can be on shows with folks, and maybe you've heard them for months, even years, but you don't get to meet them sometimes until much later. Like Adam and I only met back in August.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We only met like a month ago.
Like a month ago. Yes. Now Matt, we knew each other.
We knew each other.
But no, it's just funny how, there's a lot to, sometimes though it is hard, especially when you're in the booth by yourself, to not get into your own head too much.
Yeah.
And a good director can help kind of, pull you out.
Well, and we touched on this already, but you usually record first because you're the lead in the show.
Yeah.
And so I was saying it was so nice to have the other voices to play off of for when it got to Panda, but you must have felt.
You were always first.
Yeah, I was
Except a few times in the beginning, like 6 episodes, like I would go first, only
Yes.
because you were still doing episode 2 and I was already on 3, 4, 5.
Yeah. So I recorded episodes 1 and 2 first in my home, and there was a tech issue on the studio side, and so I had to go back and re-record episodes 1 and 2, which also, let me just tell you, like psychologically, as my first time and already being nervous, like them being like, we gotta record the episodes, I was like, someone bury me in my backyard. Did I do something wrong? What have I done? And they were like, no, it was a tech issue. I mean, maybe it wasn't. Maybe they just told me that to help me out.
Nice.
Yeah, but whatever, it's totally fine. So we had to go back and re-record the first couple episodes. So there was, at the beginning, after I had already done episodes 1 and 2, I got to go back and pretty much everyone was in.
Already in.
And then I got
That's
caught
nice.
back up, and it is weird. In a way it's weird, in a way it's not.
Yeah.
Dubbing is like, I heard a friend recently describe dubbing as acting through a straw.
It's a great analogy.
And I thought it was a great analogy because before Jujutsu Kaisen, I did a show called Star vs. the Forces of Evil on the Disney Channel. And that show, the technical term is called prelay. So the way you record is they basically write a script, they bring you in. I have a script, which in Star's case, it was a storyboard-driven show. So the scripts were literally written as the storyboard. So when I would go in, I would see a storyboard of Marco riding his bike with Star on the handlebars, and they would
It's
be
like a
"All right."
comic book if you guys
Yeah.
don't know what a storyboard
Yeah.
is. Pictures and words.
Exactly. And then I would have my written out script. I had so much freedom to, it's like Marco jumps. I didn't have to match his mouth opening at a certain time and closing. I could literally do whatever I wanted, and you could see how that, turns out when you watch a show like Star. Well, for dubbing and for shows like Jujutsu Kaisen, there's so many things at play. There's the mouth flaps and all that stuff, timing, everything. Sometimes your mouth is on the camera, like where you see Yuji's mouth open, and then it cuts off because it cuts to someone else. So they're always finessing timing. So you are acting within these confines, and then at the same time, you are, and I don't know, maybe you guys can speak to this in your process with how you honor what the original voice actor did, the original voice. But then you are sort of trying to do, you're a different person. So you're not trying to copy the other performance, but at the same time, that person did the version of it that wasn't confined. So there is going to be some life to it that was more natural, that we are essentially replicating. So you are kind of acting within this box, and it makes it really challenging and fun, in a fun way.
Yeah.
It's like doing a gymnastics routine vocally or something like that.
Right.
So it's fun, but I don't know. What's your guys' process as far as do you try and when you're in your session? So for me, because when I went into my sessions, I didn't hear any other voice actors to play off of. I was listening to the Japanese voice actors, or they would play the Yuji lines in Japanese, and then we would go back, and then they would take those out, and I would just fill in the space, essentially. Like, there's literally like a moving thing, and as soon as it gets to this point, you know, the track drops out, and I would say a line. So, yeah, what's your guys' process?
You know, I like to use the original Japanese as my blueprint, right? Like, I'm listening for like intent, for tone, all that stuff, and then trying in my brain in that very short amount of time, because you can have more than one if you ask for it, but generally you get one shot looking at it and then you go. So in that less than a minute's worth of time, I have to think, okay, who is she talking to? Why is she saying this? What does she want? What are the stakes? Is something super important in the back of her mind that she's thinking about while she says this? Also, like, is this a funny moment? Is this a dramatic moment? Like, all these things, and you have to kind of like filter it in very, very quickly, and then do the line. And that is the coolest challenge, and I'm a very competitive person, so I'm just like, I'm gonna get this right on the first track. You don't always get it right on the first track, but it's like such a fun game. So that's how I approach it.
So I've had to learn this over the years, but for the type of character that I usually play, it's usually either the big, goofy, good guy or a bad guy. And I grew up on anime, you know, Dragon Ball Z and all sorts of things, Cowboy Bebop and everything. So I have this, like, in Japanese. So I have this, like, archetype in my head. I know what that character sounds like because I've been watching it in Japanese for my whole life. But there's this weird cultural switch, I guess, or whatever, because, you know, where a really cool bad guy in Japanese, you know, they kind of play it understated, and it's very low and gravelly and understated. But whenever I get the job in a dub, that, in the director's mind, is usually what came out as Panda. It's like, over the top, you know, like, I'm a bad guy, or, you know, something like that. And it's a weird, I
can do that.
Yeah.
I'm a bad guy.
Yeah, it's like, and it always throws me off, because I know what they're going to say. I know what they want. They want that. They want bigger, louder, you know, really crunchy. But I know in the Japanese track, it's going to come out as like, I'm the bad guy. This is what I do. It's like really, really low like that. And so it's, I don't know what my point is in this story.
Sometimes from the original Japanese to the English dub, there is a reinterpretation that might make more sense for localization purposes.
Yeah. And so it's always a hurdle that I have to get over, or something that I just have to continually remind myself is, don't play to your expectation of what the character, maybe that's what my point was, don't play to what your expectation of the visual of that character is, because you have to trust your director and you have to trust that they know where you're going. And apparently where they want to go is really bombastic, for me at least.
Let's see, I mean, it really is very much on a character-by-character basis. But I will say, that with, and there are, you know, obviously, things, you know, can differ in terms of translation. Sometimes, I don't know, it's interesting, with Kamo anyway, in Japan, he's actually played by the guy who plays Rengoku in Mugen Train. Yeah, so I play Indu actually in the dub. And so, of course, you know, we have very different voices. You know, I can't go nearly as low and as commanding as he can, so I had to find a different way in for Kamo. You know, I wanted to match his intent, I wanted to match, you know, his interpretation of the character to a degree, but I knew that I had to find a different end vocally, and I worked with our director to kind of find that. You know, where he's much more, you know, smooth and methodical, a little more, you know, he's all business. Whereas Aso, his Japanese voice actor, was playing him kind of soft-spoken and a little, you know, I guess you would say understated. Whereas, you know, my Aso's a little more, a little more high energy in a lot of ways. The big challenge with Aso, of course, was to actually to nail the turn, because he starts off as a fun, bombastic villain, but then by the end you feel sorry for him because he's lost his brother and he feels responsible. So that was a really fun challenge to work through. And our director on that, who was the second director, I think, on the first season, that was really a challenge, but a very fun one. And they're talking about the harsh parameters of the technical side of things, But what Anne's talking about, though, that's the right way to approach it. That's the right mentality, is to think of it as a game, to think of it as a fun challenge, and to not get too tripped up by the particulars.
mean, you'll always get tripped up by the ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. It's inevitable, but yeah.
But,
we try to stay
it's also like part of the process, and it's expected by people on all sides of it. So it's not. It is like, you know, the coolest thing about animation for me, and one of the things I love the most about VO in animation, any kind of animation, prelay or dub or whatever, is it's just such like a collaborative team effort. Like, yes, we are the voices of the character, but so many other people go into, we have our director, we have the engineer, then you have all the editors, the people who go in and like adjust levels and like make it fit into the thing, and it's like the script adapter. It's like 100% a team effort. I just think that's so fun. I love a good group activity.
Here's my shameless plug. I've started teaching voiceover lessons online, and that's one of the things I talk about a lot. Is a lot of us. I'm sure there are some of you out there that would like to get into voice acting, and a lot of us go
Raise your
in.
hands. Raise your hands.
Yeah, who's
Don't be shy. Don't be shy.
So just to piggyback off of what
There's an owl on here.
what Adam said, is that's the really cool thing. A lot of us are introverted. A lot of us are a little shy about performing in front of people. It's really cool. You do have to definitely get over that, but it's really cool to when that light switches in your head and you realize everybody's really trying to put this puzzle together. It's not all on your shoulders. You've got, everyone is seeing the script for the first time, working on the script for the first time, recording and editing it for the first time, and it's all just a group effort to make the best product we can. So anyway, it's cool.
It's a team effort, and they all want you to succeed. So
Yes.
So if people wanted to have you do some voice lessons, where would they do that?
Oh yeah.
So I work for a place called Real Voice LA. And it is a local LA place, but right now during COVID, we're doing all of our sessions on Zoom. 10 people per class. We do what's called a workout, where you get scripts, you get a chance to give it your best shot. I give you some feedback, and we get to workshop it a little bit. And it's really a workout for your vocal cords, just to get used to performing and get used to that, what I was saying, like showing up and doing the work. There's no prep. We don't get any prep. We have to show up within 5 minutes and come up with a character and agree on it and then work on it for 2 hours. So that's what I kind of like to do that in my classes, so you get a real taste of what it's like to be a voice actor.
Is it REAL or REEL?
REAL. Missed opportunity.
Real Voice LA.
REALLA.com, or sorry, REALVoiceLA.com if you want to sign up.
And that has been one of the interesting things about the pandemic. It's been, because before that, when it came to dubbing, usually we wouldn't see the script at all beforehand. It would just be put in front of us, on the day for the session.
Yep.
Now we maybe get it 24 hours in advance
Yeah.
sometimes. Yeah. And that's a big maybe.
Well, even getting it the night before, even if you get it at 10 o'clock the night before, it's really nice just to be able to scan the script.
Yeah, honestly, just be like, how many lines do I have in this?
Yeah.
Do you guys read them before?
Not usually.
I do because
I'm sorry. But I usually have watched the episode already if I had the opportunity.
Yeah.
something that I've learned about Ann and Adam, to an extent Landon, is they're very, I'd say type A educated people where education is important, reading was really important to you growing up. I'm just saying this because I know there are some of you out there like me who don't feel comfortable reading out loud or don't feel comfortable like seeing a script and then trying to perform right away. So it's been really nice for me just to be able to just once go through the line before they're actually recording and just be like, oh, okay, that's that word, I'm going to make a note of that because I know I'm going to screw that up, that sort of thing. It's really nice for me, someone who I grew up, I'm an artist, so I grew up drawing pictures and reading comic books and things like that, but never like really becoming a real strong reader. So anyway, it's real nice to have that script ahead of time.
Absolutely, because then you can, if there's something in there that's going to trip you up, you can, make adjustments.
Yeah.
So you don't end up like a Cumberbatch Penguins moment. You know what that is?
No, what is that?
Benedict Cumberbatch, great actor that he is, cannot pronounce penguins to save his life.
What is he? How does he?
Give us your best impression.
I can't do Cumberbatch. But
Is it like penguins?
Penguin? It's like penguins. Penguins.
Penguins. Those penguins.
Yes.
I'm Dr. Strange.
Do
That's
any
exactly
of you?
how his voice.
Dr. Strange. This is an American accent.
Oh, you guys want to hear my best voice impression? Yeah. It's Russell Crowe trying to convince someone he's an American. And goes like this. I'm an American. I am an American. It's like, thank you. Every time it's just a little more intense. Thank you for your pity applause. Do any of you have any words that just like stick in your mind that you know you've like made a fool of yourself in a session? I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but
I have one that's not JJK related.
Yeah, tell us.
Okay, so you guys know, and I always intro it the same way, so it feels silly saying it in front of you guys. But a lot of people don't know I'm the voice of Disney XD. So if you are watching Disney XD, I'm the guy who tells you what's coming up next.
Just blew her mind.
Yeah.
I saw a mushroom cloud go
What? Yeah, so if you ever watch Disney XD, I'm the guy who tells you what's coming up next on Disney
Wow! Jujutsu Kaisen, whatever. Disney XD!
I'll be signing Disney XD logos. So it's a very fun job. This is considered a promo job. It's another little facet of the VO industry. And the whole thing with promo is your jobs are booked very last minute. They last about 10 minutes or 15 minutes. And speed is everything. So it's like, all right, Adam, we need this tag. A tag would be like, it's like if I was like, DuckTales, Monday night at 9 on Disney XD. They're like, all right, we need DuckTales, Monday night at 9 on Disney XD, and we need it in 3 seconds. And I'm like, all right. Here we go. So it's like, DuckTales, Monday night at 9 on Disney XD. It's like, sometimes they'll play them literally that fast. Dang it, it's early. What were we talking about? Things that trip us up. Thank you. I'm so sorry. So, at the end of these Disney XD tags, they always say, available now on Disney XD, on demand, and in the Disney Now app. And the sentence, and in the Disney Now app, is the bane of my existence.
Yeah, I can hear it already.
What's the
And then Disney app. Yeah.
Try it.
And in the Disney Now app.
And
No,
in the Disney
on
Now app.
Disney XD, on demand, and in the Disney Now app.
Oh, no.
On Disney XD, try it! On Disney XD, everybody!
On Disney XD, on demand, and in the Disney app. Oh, nope.
Yeah, it's like,
It's always those alliterations.
yes.
Yeah.
So, that sucks, I hate it.
Alliteration, as a writer, it's so much fun to write alliteration, but acting alliteration can be a pain.
Yeah.
Or like a lot of it's like swing chops, the STSs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, all
Yes.
those.
I've said this to you guys before, but I felt that way with Panda all throughout the season because he's often the character that's explaining what's happening with everyone else. You know, he'll say what's going on. There's like a chart that comes up when he's talking about Nobara not being strong enough to take a blast from Mekamaru, right? The big chart comes up, and he's got it. They show me the script, and it's like this wall of text that I've got to explain about Nobara's power levels, and like it's like okay, and you've got 4.7 seconds to say all that. So I like that a lot.
The good news is he has it all memorized, so when you go to his table and you get a print signed,
Yeah.
you can ask him to write that entire speech.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cover the whole page. But
he had a custom 3-foot print made.
I've actually got the script printed out, and I can just sign the script.
Oh, there you go.
Do you really?
No.
Oh.
No, that would be
actually
very frowned upon in the industry.
Yeah.
What, really?
I don't know.
Printing out the script, it's like all over it says do not replicate NDA.
Yeah, but that's before. It's out. Like they could literally just.
I don't know.
You try it and see what happens.
Honestly, I'll do it. I'll do it. I have it in my email. You just text me your emails, guys.
Like, I can't tell you how many times I'm in a session, I'm like starting a line and I'll be like, oh, and she really wanted to go to
Yeah.
Can we go again?
Even if I don't know the director at the beginning of the session and I don't feel comfortable just being myself by the end of the session, they've heard me say SHIT many, many times as I flub lines. It's like, one more time, let's do this. Yeah.
I say shoot a lot.
Shoot, yeah.
Poop. Oh, poop.
Oh, as Marco Diaz.
I curse like a sailor
You-
in my sessions.
Yeah.
And it helps to have Michael Sorich as a director who curses like a sailor right back.
This is true. Michael Sorich has been he was the director of pretty much like 3/4 or the first half of season 1 of JJK. He has been in the dubbing world for a very long time. I am a huge martial arts movie fan, and he did the English dub of Rumble in the Bronx with Jackie Chan. Like, yeah.
And how many of you have seen Naruto, I assume? Yeah. He was Gamabunta, the big frog in Naruto. Funny story, I've got Gamabunta tattooed on my shoulder, and we found out, we realized this about halfway through the season, that like he was the voice of Gamabunta. I was like, oh.
That's so awesome. Yeah, he's
also in season 1, he's the voice of
Jogo.
Yeah.
Volcano.
But
his head is Mount Fuji! His head is Mount Fuji!
His career goes back a ways. He actually, he was several bad guys actually on Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Bryan Cranston days.
Yeah.
Oh, Pink Ranger, very nice.
That's also a double cosplay because since the helmet is pink, it's like having pink hair, so that's a Pink Ranger Yuji cosplay. So that's my favorite. I was gonna say about Michael being such a like you were talking about like just quirky fun stuff and
bombastic.
So during the pandemic they used Skype to be able to see the voice directors, but sometimes it's on, sometimes it's off. And there was a session I was in, and they were like, the engineer was like, "Hey Mike, your camera's off," and he's like, "Oh, okay, hold on, let me turn on my mic or my camera." And he turns it on, because I was already on camera, and he turns it on, and he's just sitting there with no shirt on. And the engineer's name is Joey, and Joey goes, hey, Michael? And he's like, "Yeah? What is it, Joey?" He said, "Joey."
That's a pretty good selection.
Yeah, very good. And he's like, "You want to put a shirt on?" And he's like, Oh my God!" Like, what's his wife's name? Like, he screams at her, like, "Can you bring me a shirt?" He's like, "Put the shirt on."
If you saw The Irishman, Al Pacino's Jimmy Hoffa is very sorry.
We would, every time we would do a session together, because it was like once every couple weeks we'd record like 3 or 4 episodes for at least Panda. We would always check in and see how our beard growth was. So we'd turn the cameras on every once in a while. And he's older, he's what, in his 60s maybe, and he has this huge beard for a while, and then he'll shave it off, and then so every week we check in on camera and see how our beards were.
The gag Zoom backgrounds with you guys?
Yes. Yeah. There was a period, probably like maybe 6 episodes in, where I actually started going in studio. So I'd get COVID tested and go into studio. I just made it easier.
Because you had really long sessions.
Yeah. They're hefty. And the director would always try and feed me. He'd be like, "Come on by my house afterwards. I just made a big thing of macaroni and cheese." I'm like, okay, so I ate.
He promised me at the end of the season we were all going to go over to his house and have like
A barbecue
chili or something.
Yeah.
Never happened.
Never happened, that jerk.
Anyway, we can keep talking about it if you want. Let us know if you have any questions.
This old guy that's not
During
here
our
right
Q&A,
now.
if you guys want to know anything. What should we ask?
My favorite number is 19, by the way.
Mine's 3.
I like 57 because it reminds me of Heinz ketchup.
Mine's 11. Because it has 2 ones in it. They're always together.
Is it time to Q&A?
Yeah, let's do it. Wait,
Yeah.
what is it?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Why not?
Yeah, let's do it. So yeah, Q&A. How do we?
Oh, we don't have
How does one do
microphone.
They just left us in here with everybody. That's awesome.
I have to speak very
Here's what
loud.
we're gonna have. Yeah. Do you guys want to raise your hand, and if you have a question, we'll point to you. Yes, all of us. You are here.
My favorite question to ask people is, what's your best piece of advice? It can be funny, helpful, and
Best piece of advice.
In general.
yeah, just in general.
Oh, cool.
In life?
Any kind of advice. It could literally be any kind of advice.
I feel like
I'm good. That's real action. Yeah. Inspiration is like gas. Hold it tight or it will pass. That's my
So I was a teacher for a long time.
Here we go.
No, but something that has helped me as an actor when I switched, careers, and something I talk to my students about all the time is learn how to write a really nice professional email. That will, for any of you, not just people trying to get into the acting industry, but a lot of you guys are probably the age where you're looking for careers right now, or in high school, or freshly out. I feel like so much of my acting career has been benefited by the fact that I can just write an email like an adult, proper sentence structure and punctuation and all of that. So nothing quite as cool as Landon, but it's a great skill to have.
I would say that's understated, like 1,000%.
I mean, literally.
Because what goes along with that is like being on time. It's like talent only gets you so far if you want to do this. It really does. It's like, are you nice? Are you easy to work with?
Yeah.
Do you respond to your emails on time?
Yeah, that's the stuff that gets you rehired.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the thing. Talent is the baseline. Talent gets you, through the door once, but if you want to have staying power, you have to demonstrate professionalism. And
our industry is a very relationship-heavy industry where, you get in good with one recording studio or one casting director, or, and over the course of your career, many studios and many casting directors, but it's always about your relationship with that person, and are you respectful, and are they respectful of you, and, all of that stuff.
Mine is, it's not a race. You may always look at where you are right now and you're like, I'm not where I want to be and everyone else is ahead of me, but that just means that you're not yet through that part of your journey. And everyone goes at their own pace. I really believe that all the things that happen to you are just stepping stones along the way. So just keep at it, or whatever it is you're pursuing, and don't lose heart. Just don't feel like you have to rush.
Oh, so good.
Piggyback here. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I think you were a little bit younger when you started your career, but I was 34 when I started voiceover, and I feel like I've had a pretty good level of success as someone later in life starting. Were we all in our 30s when we started?
I was in my late 20s.
Late 20s.
Yeah, I was in my late 20s when I started, but I didn't really, last year. You know what I mean? It took me 8 to 10 years.
So my point being, you hear a lot of times from younger people, if you don't do X, Y, or Z by a certain age, then it's over. I mean, just to piggyback off of what Anna was saying, is everyone's journey is different, and it's totally valid to start a new career or a new idea, a new path in your 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever.
I heard a variation of exactly what you're saying. It's not a race.
Yeah.
Somebody was like, everybody wants to get from A to Z, but they forget that you gotta go B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. You gotta get through all the other letters before you get to Z. So not forgetting that. Everyone's so hyper focused on I gotta get there, that they forget that there's all this stuff in between. And each one of those has its fun and excitement along the way also.
Yeah. Hello, God?
I was just telling someone that's actually my 2020 resolution is to sit back and smell the roses a little bit. Sorry, 2020.
I was like,
You're a little late on that. I'm still working on my 2020 resolution. No, but to sit back and enjoy whatever letter of the alphabet I'm on. I want to get to Z so hard. But I'm doing some fun stuff. Let's just enjoy it.
Yeah, totally. I would say there was a period of my youth when I was doing, I was competing really heavily in judo and in kung fu, traditional kung fu. And I was traveling all over the United States. I was doing some international competitions, and it was the moment to decide if I wanted to really, really go for it, Olympic judo, really go for it. And I had this conversation with my teacher, and I was like, this is so hard. It's hard. I'm having a hard time. Sometimes I would win and do really good, sometimes I wouldn't. And I'm like, this is hard. And something he said to me in those times really stuck with me, and it was, somebody has to win. It might as well be you. And that gets me through any ups and downs or tough times in the industry. Because really we're making cartoons. So we're not saving lives. This is in the grand scheme of how important it is, and not to underplay the importance of the the meaning that these shows have for people and the positive impact, but I just mean like, we're making cartoons. We're not like, flying in and saving someone's actual life, even though cartoons can do that. But knowing that like, man, someone has to book this job. It might as well be me. And even if I don't get it, it's like, well, someone has to book the next one. Someone has to book the next one. So I think that has helped me stay positive and also like be okay when it's not my time.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, there's always another one. Because there is always another one. Right now, Jujutsu Kaisen is really popular. Like, it's amazing. Walking in here yesterday was like instant. Nobara cosplay, Yuji cosplay, Sukuna cosplay, Maki cosplay, like everywhere. Gojo. We don't
No
talk about it.
pandas.
Not enough hands.
If half of you dressed as Gojo were pandas, I'd be happy. We don't need all these Gojos. I'm kidding.
Live.
But like,
I didn't see nearly enough muscular men with bow ties.
Yeah, there are both.
So yeah, like, it's cool to see how popular this is, but at some point, it might not be as popular, and something else, there is always something else, there's always a new opportunity, and someone has to get those things, and yeah, so someone has to do it, it might as well be you. That's my
It's really good.
Sorry, I love piggybacking apparently, but you can flip that too, because that's what's so great about, we were talking about this being such a collaborative industry. Someone has to do it, might as well be you. I can say that about you, and it's so cool to have friends that are in the industry and really support each other and everything. It's a really good support network, because I mean,
you can't do everything.
I auditioned for Yuji when that audition went out, and it's hilarious. Cause
I didn't
like,
audition for Panda.
because like, why would I play Yuji? But it was really cool to be like, oh, Adam got Yuji. That's awesome for Adam, and that sort of thing. It's cool. Might as well be you.
I think, might as well be you, Panda. Did you guys all audition for other characters for the show?
When the auditions came around,
It was just
Nobara was
Nobara.
the only female audition for the show. So
I auditioned for Yuji and Sukuna.
Yeah, one of one, limited edition. Ultra rare. You said you auditioned for Yuji and...
And Sukuna.
Okay.
And they were like, no. I didn't audition for Panda. I had just come off of playing Rock Wraithrazer in Tower of God for the same studio, and they were like, "No, we got another character that you just stay in your lane."
no, they were like, we got another character and you are perfect for it.
Yes, exactly.
So, it's really nice when you have like such a good relationship with the studio that
love
they
it.
can be like, I know exactly who is right for this role. I don't even need to audition for it. Here you
No,
go.
that is the biggest compliment of my career. Yeah, they're like, you did a great job as a similar character. We want you to do this for our next show as well.
Yeah.
No, they'll just plug you in sometimes. Like I was autocast as both Kamo and Aso. And it's interesting because before those guys came along, the majority of the characters that I've been playing for Studiopolis were kind of, more on the, nasal nerdy side. So it was fun to actually be able to, show them what else I could do. Both were definitely gifts for sure. And looking forward to hopefully more Kamo in season 2.
Yeah.
I auditioned for Yuji, Sukuna, Megami, and Gojo. Yeah. It's really funny. Like I save all my auditions because what I like to do is, now that we just started a new year, I'll go back and listen to, starting from the beginning. I'll go back and listen to all my 2021 auditions.
Oh, you don't have 2 kids under the age of 10 then.
No.
Taking
I
up
mean,
that
it's
time
like I don't listen to all of them.
That's
But
like a family activity.
I like scroll through and if it's like for something like this, for example, I know now what English dub Megami sounds like. I know now what English dub Gojo sounds like, and it's fun to see where I landed. Gojo, totally out of pocket. Like I was like, nah, definitely wouldn't have ever even considered that. Megami, I was like, could have been Megami. Like that was like in the right direction.
Sure.
Obviously, Robbie can only be Megami. Robbie is amazing. Sukuna was like totally out of pocket. Like nope, can see where I went wrong, or not went wrong, but just like where the choices needed to be different in order to make sense in the grand scheme of the show.
Yeah.
Which is really fun to kind of like, I don't know, go back and look at. Yeah.
Oh, going back to a conversation about like the different interpretations between the original sub and the dub. Let's talk about Sukuna, because like the Japanese actor for Sukuna, like he's got this like low, sensual.
That's what I'm saying, like, that's usually that.
And then Ray comes out and he's got this like kind of like chewing the scenery, Shakespearean almost like bombastic.
Like Joker-esque.
Yeah, Joker-esque. And they both fit. Like they're both valid and they're both wonderful in different ways. I mean, if you were hoping for like sexy Superman in English, I'm sorry. I mean, their face voice isn't sexy, but but yeah, I think that's so cool that we have the opportunity to be able to do stuff like that.
You know, Ray can be sexy. Did you guys see *Malignant*? He's Gabriel. Gabriel's sexy as well. In his own way.
Okay, more cues
Yeah,
so
so
we
that
can
was like
supply
that was
praise.
one cue.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, let's go this side. Yeah, you right there. Max. I guess that's everybody.
What genre of anime is our favorite?
There's so many.
I like that you said it that way because that's always a point of contention is people talk about anime as a genre, but really anime is a medium, and there are so many genres within anime. It's a cool way to put it. Mine is the type that I watch at midnight and it makes me cry until like 3 in the morning.
What's that, Fruits Basket?
Yeah, Fruits Basket. No, I realized this over.
Are you a kill or a Yuki
I've realized over my life that like those are the ones I love. Made in Abyss is one of my absolute favorite animes. Naruto does it to me. You know, like every episode, I'm holding back tears. You know, things like that. I love how deep. You know, I was thinking about it when Adam was saying that. You know, not to undermine how important animes can be to people emotionally.
Yeah.
I really feel that. I feel like being a dad and being a teacher and things like that. I've watched anime all throughout, and there are real moments of people taking care of other people in those shows, which is one of the reasons I love playing Panda, because he's that kind of character. But you know, that's the genre that really affects me at this point in my life. Like people taking care of people, understanding the emotional, you know, arcs of these characters and things like that.
I think for me, like a good solid comedy, especially a good romantic comedy, is like that's my cup of tea. So like Kaguya-sama is one of my favorites. Oh god. And shout out for Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun. I watched that and I was like, stuff like that gets me going.
I don't really know if I have a genre that's my favorite. I just like good quality, like good shows.
Yeah,
Like one that I sort of unexpectedly started watching recently is Way of the House Husband.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, what am I literally said out loud, what am I watching? This is amazing. It's hilarious. There's so much unexpected stuff. I hated Tokyo Revengers the first like 8 episodes, and then all of a sudden I was like, why do I care about everyone in this so much? And then I got cast as Chief of You.
I was gonna say, was that about the time when you showed up?
Yeah, well, he's no.
And for some reason,
Yeah. So Chief of You shows up around episode 17, but I think anyone watch Tokyo Revengers? So like around episode 10, I think is the first time we see Takamichi fail, and everything kind of has to reset, and then it's like, oh, you can fail at the thing that he was trying for. I didn't realize that, and then all of a sudden the story just gets like more juicy.
It was almost like the first 9 episodes were just like one long preamble.
Yes, and
the
then
rug
all
gets
hits.
pulled out.
Oh.
Yeah, it's nice.
Baji, no. Dang it! Oh! I can't say that out loud.
Okay. Do it. Don't.
I just picture Baji and Junpei up there somewhere
Wow, what is wrong with you?
dancing together.
What is wrong with you?
Why do all my friends die? Spoilers. Sorry. Spoilers.
Wow.
Sorry.
We got to hear what Landon's favorite genre is.
Oh gosh, I don't know if I could. I don't know if I can narrow it down to one genre, but I can tell you a few of my
Locomotive anime.
Yeah,
anything to do with trains. Let's see. I think. Did you guys ever see Baccano?
Yeah.
Only 16 episodes, but they cram so much into it. It's beautiful. Yeah, wonderful animation. The dub is amazing. So that's one of my favorites for sure. Bebop, that's like saying your favorite
Oh, I
movie
know,
Citizen
right.
Kane. but-
Right.
Yeah.
Is it?
Let's see what else.
But it's good. Like it's good for a reason. Like
Yeah,
everyone
yeah.
loves it
It's
for
like
a
this
reason.
stuff sticks around for a reason. It endures for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Bebop is one of the reasons, or the similarities between Jujutsu Kaisen style and Bebop is one of the first things that kind of drew me into it, and I was really excited to be cast in it because it's like, oh, this has that style, that sauce, whatever it is.
And the tonal shifts, because Bebop can be very broad and goofy and enjoyable, but it can also be very deep and it can rip your heart out. And that's what I think JJK can do well.
That's what Sukuna does.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
What's your favorite line or phrase that you've recorded in Jujutsu Kaisen?
Favorite line or phrase that we've recorded in JJK?
I love myself when I'm pretty and all dressed up, and I love myself when I'm kicking ass.
Oh, so I'm bad at picking favorites because I have, like, things just mean a lot to me.
What's your favorite thing?
My favorite right now is when in episode 24,
Yeah.
when Yuji is about to kill you. And he says, not you, sorry, whatever. You know what I'm saying. And he says, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. Oh, that ripped my heart out when I watched it. I was like,
Cause like, that was in 2 words. It was the culmination of everything he had like realized about himself and sort of fought against, but then realized he didn't have a choice to do, and genuinely was sorry and didn't want to to kill Esso.
take a life.
Ugh. That right now.
You were. I texted you after I saw that. I was like, Adam, you made me cry.
And then he made me die.
I love, all right, Panda, I don't understand human speak.
I like Pandash.
No, I love the comedic moments that Panda has, I love the Juju strolls and, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Actually, yes. Go ahead. I want to say one more after.
Oh, sure. For Aso, it's probably a hello, young lady. And for Kamo, really, it's just anytime he gets to bitch at Toto.
Yeah, I think one of my other favorites is in episode 23, Juju Stroll, where I literally went ham on this because Yuji's just ridiculous in this moment, where he comes running in. It's the formation B one, where Yuji's like, Gojo Kugisaka! He's like screaming and running. Fushiguro's getting hit on!
That is such a good scene.
Formation B! And that whole
The
thing.
whole thing.
I wish you could actually piece out and hear what we were each saying individually to Megan during
I
that.
should have like memorized that because that's such
Yeah.
a good I had like a monologue.
Me
I
too.
did not stop talking.
I remember saying, don't you remember all the good times we had?
That was all improv, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. A lot of it, some of it was.
Mine was fully scripted and I was like, well, I'll just say the whole thing. Here we go.
That's
Maybe on some backup file somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
totally. Okay.
Yes.
If you weren't voicing your character, what other character would you like to voice?
In JJK?
What other character?
Any.
In anything.
Oh.
Okay.
Which list?
Sometimes this is like a weird question for voice actors because our friends and peers voice other characters.
Not like in a competitive way, but like if you think it would be fun to voice them.
How about like another show or something we would
Yeah.
like to be on? If there's another like dream show, is that cool?
Yeah.
Okay. I would love to be in Demon Slayer.
Oh yeah.
Zach is a friend and he's awesome, and I just think it would be fun to go over and do something on Demon Slayer. I think that would be fun.
I want to be my hero. Oh, yeah. Now we're just dreaming.
Believe me, I've been pounding on the door for at Sentai for Made in Abyss for a while. They're about to start season 2, and I've been saying, I want to be in this!
That's how it works.
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah.
Bad advice.
And that's why I'm not in it. They don't appreciate that.
Let's see, gosh. There's one show that's getting a lot of buzz right now, and I mean that as a pun.
Oh.
It's my best chainsaw. Chainsaw made me laugh.
Oh, yeah.
It's coming in something.
Okay, this is so.
Oh, you're next. You're next.
Who's your favorite like anime character overall? Like just your favorite?
I really like Yatto
I love Noragami.
and Noragami.
Oh,
Yeah, I love Noragami. It's one of my favorites.
Oh God, me too. I can't choose. Wait, come back to me. Come back to me. No,
Who's our
your
favorite
favorite
character?
period. Ugh.
For a long time for me, it was Vegeta. Growing up, as an adult, I really identify with Jiraiya Sensei. Tells you a little bit about me, I guess. But yeah, if anyone asks more recently, it's probably Jiraiya.
Oh gosh, Isaiah Orihara from Dorado. Yeah. This isn't who you identify with, is it? This is just a character.
No, just a
Okay,
character.
good. Let's see. Yeah, he's a lot of fun.
To reiterate, I identify with Jiraiya.
L from Death Note's a lot of fun. He's part of the reason why I love playing detectives.
Oh yeah. The one that's like hit like in my brain right now is Faye from Cowboy Bebop. Yeah. Yeah, she's so cool.
You've been directed by Wendy, right?
Once. She was like,
She's great.
yeah.
I've been directed by Wendy Lee about 70,000 times. And every time she goes, "Hey, is this the first time we worked together?"
That's another a piece of advice. Always remember people's names, because the easiest thing to do is remember someone's name, and when you use their name back to them after you haven't seen them for a long time, that instantly makes them feel special.
It really does. Do you know it's also really hard to do?
Yeah.
Memorize people's names.
Hearing people's names.
Especially when you're on Zoom. And
Yeah.
like,
You can do it.
Especially for somebody who like is better with faces, but that's not very helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, we have like 20 minutes, just
Okay.
telling you guys, so we'll maybe speed round questions. But yes, you were.
Okay,
And then
this
with
is
the
a bit of a
wings.
specific
The one with
question.
me?
After, sorry.
But like, how would you say the like ending of the Mahito versus Junpei arc like set the bar for how far the show is going to go?
I heard the first half. You said, how would the end of the arc with the Junpei
How
arc?
would you say? Yeah, how would you say the Junpei arc set the bar for how far the show is willing to go as
Oh.
killing
Okay.
characters?
Yeah. What would you say about the end of the Junpei arc and how far it showed the show is willing to go?
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it showed that we could fail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Right?
It's like-
We did.
Yeah.
To use the Tokyo Revengers
Yeah. Totally.
parallel.
Totally.
Like, we could fail. Like, the hero could not win.
For me, it put it squarely in that like Naruto genre that I was talking about, where like that happens quite a bit in all the arcs in Naruto. Somebody dies that you're not expecting,
Yeah.
and Yuji is I feel like on a very similar plane as Naruto, where he's trying to do the best all the time, and it's
Yeah.
really heartbreaking when he can't. And so I think that's an important thing that the show is willing to show, and I hope that we see more of that, because those are the kind of shows that really stick with me.
I mean, it was a gut punch. It really was.
Yeah.
I remember being taken aback by it, but and like I say, I mean, the body horror elements, all that just heightens just how horrific the whole situation is, and because once again the animation is so beautiful, but it's so grotesque and just stomach turning. But at the same time, though, yeah, it really is interesting because I figured at least, okay, he's the fun best friend. He'll be around for the whole show.
He's
probably.
in the intro.
He's in the intro, for God's sake.
That's messed up. They bamboozled us.
But is he doing parkour in the intro?
Oh,
He's just chilling by a tree. Like the show from literally episode 1 is 0 to 60, so I think like, how do you top that? But it does. The stakes continually
Get higher.
get higher and get higher, and I think as we move into, obviously it hasn't been announced, so there's technically no confirmation of season 2. But if you're a manga reader, like going into the next Shibuya arc and all that stuff, like it continues to one up, and things just get worse, or more difficult. So it's I definitely think it does set the bar, and one of my favorite things that happens in writing, in shows, in any show in general, is when you can get your main characters into a situation that as a viewer, you're like, how are they gonna get out of this?
Yeah.
And a lot of times in writing, you'll see a cop-out where they'll be like, Lenny woke up from a dream. And you're like, what? Like, that's a cop-out, that's an easy way out. There have been no easy way outs, and we've had to see these characters go through this, like, crazy stuff where you're like, how is this even, like, how are we getting out of here? How are we getting, what, and like, even now, still, like, like, where we are, I'm like, what, is there ever another side? And do we get on the other side of this? Like, are we ever happy again? Like, where are we going?
What's the happy ending?
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny because it's kind of in the DNA of the storytelling, because we're about to see the Zero movie and have that happen, and just to have the guts to tell a story that happens before, and not all the characters make it to the season,
Yeah.
It's
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
Wait, with the wings.
Hi. So I have like a voice actor question, because obviously the characters you guys do, there's an element of your own voices. So in your everyday life, do you find yourself accidentally playing your character as yourself?
in our everyday lives, do we find ourselves playing our character?
Yeah, like if you're like mad, does you accidentally go panda? Like I don't know. Like,
Let me answer this first, because I have a family of 4 that I'm around 24/7, and literally, I want them to be proud of me in my job. I show them my shows and everything, and every single time I just get this kind of like chuckle, and they're like, "Oh, that's just you," and they're like totally not impressed, because that panda yelling is just me. I mean, you've heard it all this session. It's just me. I'm like, no, I really tried with this character to make him sound cool and brooding, and and they're like, no, we heard that at breakfast.
I think you will agree with this. Ann and I have a very Yuji Nobara relationship on Twitter.
Yeah, we do.
And so a lot of our tweets are almost feel like they're in character, as if like Yuji was responding to her Twitter feed or something like that. But in like my real life, I would say that I go Marco Diaz more than Yuji in real life. But it's because I have an 8-year-old niece who's obsessed with Star vs. Forces of Evil, so I call her as Marco sometimes, and let her talk to
That's
Marco.
adorable.
That's adorable.
Pretty cute.
Yeah, I honestly, like, I resonate really, really hard with Nobara. So, like, I find myself, like,
Beating people with squeaky hammers.
squeaky hammers on the regular. It's weird. It's like I black out and I'm like,
It's
how
always
did this get
me.
here? No. But no, I find myself, reacting to situations, hanging, like, making fun of my friends, like, in the same way that I remember hearing myself through the lines. So I'll be like, oh, did I say that in the show?
Yeah. Like I had road rage the other day, and I was like, "That guy's head is Mount Fuji."
Weird.
Okay, we should.
Wait.
Oh, sorry. I know. We can do like maybe one person.
lightning
answer,
round.
so we
Yeah.
can light
I want to get this young
But
lady.
to answer the question though,
Yeah, but
Anytime I hear a train whistle.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I want to get this young lady. We got a really young girl in the crowd. And you got to yell.
we might need someone to yell it out louder for us.
Your favorite part.
Oh.
Mine was just working with Michael Sorich. It was like, we got less work done because he's so insane, but it was just like every time we got on the call, he was so fun and bombastic, and we were saying, oh, how's your family, how you doing, what's new in your life, and it really, being isolated during COVID and having that opportunity to have a real conversation with a friend, in a work setting, it feels really good.
Yeah.
Wait, I had the answer and then it like left my brain. Go.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, really, those sessions were so much fun. I always look forward to them because obviously the show's awesome, but also, yeah, working with Michael and then later Kirsty, I mean, it was there's 2 really great directors who know the craft so well, and it didn't feel like work; it felt like play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it was. I am legitimately a huge fan of this show. Like, I'm fully caught up on the manga. Like, I love it so much. So, the fact that I got to work on it as well was like just I was like a kid in a candy shop every session.
I think for me it's like every part about it is my favorite part. Like the actual recording of the sessions, the fan interaction, like just seeing how, like, coming to these things is honestly so special, and like anyone who comes through, passes by my table, and just says hi, it means a lot. So it's like, yeah, being a part of something that is sort of like this bigger than life sort of thing. I was in the mall the other day and I walked past Suzumi's and the whole storefront was a Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah.
Like that is a very cool feeling. So my favorite part keeps changing because there's so many amazing aspects of being able to work on the show.
Yeah.
Great question.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
And lots of great courage to ask that question.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
This isn't exactly JJK related, but what is your favorite joke? Extra points if it's a dad joke?
What's your favorite joke? Extra points if it's a dad joke. You're a dad. You probably know.
I turned to my 7-year-old in the car the other day and I said, hey, you want to hear a really good joke? You might not get it, but it's a really good one. I'll explain it to you. And I go, how can you tell if an elephant's been in your refrigerator? And he's playing his Switch and he's like, how? He like didn't care at all. And I was like, because there's footprints in the Jell-O. And he goes, huh? And I was like, do you get it? Like, what would really happen if and this is what makes it a dad joke, because I had to explain it a bunch of times. I was like, what would really happen if an elephant went in your refrigerator? He's like, I don't know, like, it'd probably break the refrigerator. I was like, yeah. So isn't it funny? Isn't it the most ridiculous funny thing to say the only way you'd be able to tell if an elephant was in your refrigerator is if there was a footprint in the Jell-O? And he's like, okay.
It's like deep dad.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get another question.
Yeah.
That was as big dad as you can get.
Next. Hands. You, yeah.
What has been your favorite character to voice act out of all of them?
No bar. But also the red sugar. But no bar.
Rock Wraith Razor!
It's hard to pick one. I'll say a couple. Rohan on JoJo. Let's see. Inmu definitely Demon Slayer. Those are two of my favorites for sure.
I keep getting blessed by voicing the best boys. So I cannot pick. Marco Diaz will always be one of my favorites. Yuji's best boy. Chifuyu on Tokyo Revengers is best boy. I just got to do a villain on My Hero Academia this last season. A guy named Trumpet, who's Redestro's right-hand man. So he's the guy who's the politician of the Meta Liberation Army. Dang. Yeah, all of them. Whichever one I'm in the booth doing at that current moment.
There.
Yes.
How was the switch over from your past job to voice acting? Like, was it a real big change in life?
I was a forensic scientist for 7.5 years. Most of that time I was also pursuing voice acting and taking a long lunch to go do a session. But I a couple of years ago was able to finally quit my job and was I'm gonna pursue this full time. And then another couple of years, and then I'm finally at a place where I can say I am a voice actor. This is my
profession. I've never had a real job. that's half true. I have my own business that's non-entertainment related that I run and have employees and stuff like that. But I've been voice acting since I was a kid, and grew up in Northern California. Started when I was 16, and I've always wanted to do cartoons since I was a kid. So I literally just started. My parents put me in an acting class as a kid. Got a random audition from the teacher. Ended up getting that. That turned into an animation demo, which turned into jobs up there. Then I moved to LA and started working. Did on-camera acting as well. So I did a bunch of commercials in the early 2000s, and then I just have been doing it for a really long time. I wish I was a forensic scientist.
We all wish we were.
But I play one on TV.
I think in a lot of ways, acting is like the art of studying people and being able to draw upon past experiences and then perform them. And in that sense, I always said to students who were interested, I said, teaching has made me a better actor and acting has made me a better teacher. I think in a lot of ways, teachers are required to do the same sort of thing, presenting, performing, you know, pulling upon past knowledge and improvising it in the same way that actors do. So there was a lot of correlation in what I was doing, and I was doing it at the same time. So it was a natural transition. It was terrifying to not have like, oh, I know every 2 weeks I'm getting a paycheck, but natural transition for me.
Let's see, I was a journalist actually before this. So I went to school for originally, and I wanted to be a film critic. I did event coverage for Variety and stuff like that. And actually, I covered cons at one point. I covered San Diego Comic Con for 2 years in a row, actually. So I've been on every side of this. I've been an attendee, I've been a member of the press, and I've been an actor.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's crazy the turns that life can take. But wow, let's see. I mean, I definitely, in the early days, learning to, you know, kind of embrace that freelance lifestyle and not have, you know, necessarily a steady paycheck and not to know, you know, if the rent was going to be totally covered. But that definitely took some, you know, there was a period of adjustment. But now, you know, it's very different, but having a blast for sure.
Okay, so I think we're actually out of time. We can, we can like wind it up. But here's the thing. I know we're not getting to all the questions in here, but right after this, we're all going down to floor 3 in Artist Alley. We all have tables set up. We all have prints. We're all going to be signing. Come check out our prints. Come say hi. Come ask us questions. If we didn't get to your question, come say hi.
Yeah.
We would love to see all of you guys there. Should we do like a selfie? Well, someone waved at us.
Oh, someone waved.
I think there might be people coming in here after that. But can we all do a group selfie?
Yeah, let's walk out to the end of the catwalk and we'll get it.
Yeah, and if you guys are on the side, can you just like go into the thing and then everyone can stand up and like fake yell?
Pretend that Adam just said Disney XD again.
We capture that energy. Coming up next at Ikkicon.
Don't worry, I got this. I like this one right here.
Be careful, they're not dead.
Oh yeah.
We were told. They asked him if he wanted to build it, so.
Okay, there's a lot of people like
Hey, don't leave! You gotta be in the picture! Lock the doors!
let's kneel down so that everybody can.
Anna needed to say that.
Hands up!
All right, everyone say, on 3, say Disney XD. 1, 2, 3.
Disney XD! Thanks, everybody.
What are they doing?